This video is all about 5 goals that I have created for my homeschool, my family. I'll run you through briefly how I go about thinking through the systems that I need to put in place in order to achieve our goals. So the first goal that I have, this is more of a personal goal. It's around self-care, and we as homeschooling mums, we have a lot of things that we need to do, and sometimes we can tend to lose ourselves a little. And you know, I do definitely think special needs families are very much in that category where we can, as mums, as carers, as people that need to support additional needs, it can be you know, taking a lot from you. And this year, because we are in such a good place, I really do want to focus a little bit more on my own identity and reconnecting with some of the things that I love, which is, you know, fashion, for instance. Sounds very incredibly vain, but I love fashion. I have always enjoyed clothes, and I always used to have a wonderful minimalist clothing, like capsule clothing, and I want to get all back into that, and I want to just really take pride in how I present myself and all of those kinds of things, which I do find enjoyable. So those are the kinds of things. It's a little bit personal, and I think it's okay to put that out there, because I'm sure there are a few of you out there that have felt like they have been losing a little bit of their identity. And I think it's probably a common thing that maybe we don't talk about as often. And I'm hoping that maybe some of you might support me in that. Let me know in the comments below if you're going through a little bit of mum identity struggles, and just, you know, obviously we don't go back to the person that we were prior to having babies, but what I'm trying to say very painfully is that I want to find the balance for me. For me, I feel like I want to have a couple of those things that was the old me before kids, and reinvent it really, and find that balance again of where, you know, I can do a little bit more for me and have the kids witness that, involve them even, if that works, and just allow them to see that mum's needs are important as well. So the 3 main things I want to focus on for myself in self-care is healing, health. So I want to get my fitness back up, and I haven't been able to do that obviously because of the pain that I was in and the injuries that I had, but I have been seeing an osteopath, and they have done wonders, and I am on that road to being able to exercise again and do all of those wonderful things. So I am back onto that, and that has been really wonderful. And my skin, I want to start looking after my skin a little bit better. I used to be very good at that, and that just kind of went out the window. And yeah, so I want to look after my skin, and I want to find my style. So I have got some things in place that I'm going to be working on that will allow me to accomplish those goals. It really is just a habit change, and I'm all good for that. So the next goal is adjusting our homeschool approach, because I have been working more in my business, and we're about to launch Freely Homeschool Planner. A lot more of my time is required in that business role, and I'm loving it. It's been another thing that has been bringing me so much joy. But I have found that it's like juggling homeschooling and the house and then the business stuff. It's like we only have so much time in the day, really. So I am looking at our homeschool routine, and there are some adjustments that are needing to be done, and that is incorporating the weekends. So the weekends used to be more just focused on, like, you know, everyday jobs or like catch-ups or visitors and things like that, just random stuff. But now we're going to need to really incorporate some routines into our weekends. There's no rules when there's homeschooling, and that's the great beauty of it all. So Aiden's been taking the kids out every Saturday morning, and they've been going out to the beach and on excursions and things like that, incorporating some of the goals that we had for those particular things within HPE. So he's been doing a lot of HPE type stuff and just like, you know, life skills and things like that. So I give him a couple of ideas of what they could do, what they could work on, and he just runs with it. And I let him, you know, do what he can in the time that he has, and he loves it, and he comes back and he lets me know what they did. He takes photos, and I put it all into Freely so I can still use it for my reporting as well. But that's really helping. So getting out of that mindset that school can only happen on, you know, such and such days, spreading it all out a little bit more is just alleviating some of that pressure. And it's been working so far. So I'm going to continue on refining that for this year, for 2022, as we kind of bring back more some of our subjects that we shelved for the Christmas period. I'm going to be bringing that back in and just kind of really looking at everything and seeing where we can just be a little bit more time efficient, and without compromising any of the joy that the kids have for the things that they love. The third goal that we've got is traditions. Last year we actually set a goal of creating some traditions. We created a few traditions, one of which is a Saturday movie night, and the kids just loved that so much. So we stuck with that the entire year, and it's been such a joy. We also did a game night, but that would work depending on our schedules and things like that. So this year I definitely want to set some more traditions. One of them is actually incorporating, the kids love to cook. So I've decided to start a tradition of alternating weeks, and one of my kids gets to cook a meal. So whether it's a dessert, a lunch, or a dinner, they can choose, and I will work with them, will support them and let them kind of run it. So they can choose the food, they can choose when, how, all of that sort of stuff. And I will just support them in that, so they can research what kind of food they want to make and how they're going to make it, follow the recipe. I will support them in finding the ingredients if they need that, and just kind of really allow them to kind of start something and finish it and then share the results with the family. And I really thought that that would be a great sort of, I guess, almost life skill. It's a life skill, right? Cooking and managing that time and making sure they have it ready in time. There's just so many things. So I'm going to be using that in my reporting for this year as well. And I think that it'll work really, really well. It's more about just kind of understanding that they have this job to do. This is when it's needed by, making sure that they can kind of work that out. Obviously, I'm going to support them in that, and it'll be whatever they want it to be. And it will probably bloom into something completely different. I don't know. That's what my kids are like. They usually run with the idea and it becomes something completely different to what I imagined it to be. And that's totally okay, because that's how it works for our family. So, but that is the kind of the tradition that I was thinking. I thought it would be really fun, and I'm also thinking like incorporating more themed dinner nights as well, because the kids have really taken to trying Mexican. They're getting a little bit more, you know, interested in different types of foods, which is really exciting, because we used to struggle a lot with food in our family and sensory needs and things like that. So it's very encouraging to have that. So I definitely want food to be part of a tradition this year. So the other thing that I would like for a goal this year is hobby time. So usually, and I've mentioned this in videos before, usually when we've finished our formal school, it usually only goes for about 2 to 3 hours, depending on how many rabbit trails we go on, but really rarely does it go past 3 hours. So I usually aim for that to be in the morning. We're done by 12 and we have a really great lunch and a nice break. And then it's usually at like project time, if we haven't got anything planned that day. Sometimes it's, you know, outings and things like that as well. So it just depends. But if we are home, it is project time. So that's like personal projects. That's things that they're interested in. If it's like meeting up in a game online with a homeschool group, they will do that. If it's something like Riley loves, my daughter, she loves art and crafts. So she usually finds someone on YouTube that I have approved. She's got some security around her, what she can watch on YouTube. But she really loves to find people that do DIY stuff. So she loves to make her own like DIY things. That's her thing. So she has full access to our craft cupboard when she does that, and she has the responsibility of bringing everything that she brings out, she needs to put away. She usually does need help with that, guys. Don't think that my kids have it all, you know, sorted. She usually needs help putting things away. She gets very overwhelmed. And she's very messy in her crafting. Who isn't really? You kind of got to make mess to create stuff. But she is getting there. She's getting better, and we're working on it together. And it is, you know, I let her run with it. I let her make mess. I let her run through the ideas, because the creativity is so much more important than cleaning the mess up at the end. And we do clean it up, but we tend to have to do that as a team, and we're working on that. So I don't ever want my kids to be discouraged, because then they know that they're going to have to do that horrible job of cleaning up afterwards. It's kind of a process that we need to just work on together at the moment. And I'm sure that will change. Hobby time is really something that I came up with in conversations with Aiden, actually. He was kind of thinking that maybe the kids needed a little bit more structure around whatever, like our project time. And that's when we discussed the idea of the hobby. And hobby is more about like really allowing them to, I guess, like an instrument, you know, learning that instrument and chipping away at it. Like having a hobby, it's something that they're really, really passionate about, and that they can really run with it. So some form of course. So I'm looking at the options for that. So if you have any, I think there's like Skillshare. There's been a couple of things that I've been looking at where you can go into these programs, and they have like little courses for kids to do. So if you guys have any suggestions with that, I would love that, because I'm still very much in the planning mode for that particular goal. But I do know, like I know there's a wonderful pottery group in our area. So I'm looking at that for Riley, because she's a maker, and I want to embrace that. But I also thought some things that were, you know, online that they can do in the comfort of home could be a good idea as well, because it just allows us a little bit more flexibility. So I kind of want to mix that in. So hobby time is definitely going to be something, and I'm gonna have my own hobby as well. So we're kind of all working together on our own hobbies, and we can share what we're learning as we go. And I think that's going to be really fun. So I'll keep you posted on that, and may even do a video on what we ended up doing, what we are doing and choosing and all that sort of stuff. The next goal that we have is a little of an intimidating one, and I have actually handed it over to Aiden, because it's kind of is really great at learning the rules of games. Like he just reads it, gets it, and knows what to do. I look at it like these games that we've been playing, guys. There's so many steps, and we would never be doing it without Aiden. Like there's just so many things. But he enjoys it. It's part of his hobby. See what I mean? Like it's just, you know, sharing that hobby with us is just amazing. So I'm really grateful to Aiden for that. But it has kind of sent us down the rabbit trail of D&D. So if your family does that, let me know and what you recommend, because I didn't even know there are different types. I'm probably explaining this completely wrong, but there are different types or different stories or bases that you can use for D&D. It's not just like one size fits all kind of thing. So we've been trying to find the good introductory sort of you know, beginner level D&D for our kids, and we're doing it with them. And we also hope to start our own little group here on the Sunshine Coast for D&D. There are actually quite a few already happening, but they're more like the older level, the teenagers, and that's why I actually really wanted to pursue this. I wanted to kind of come up with something that my kids could do when they're teens on their own. So there are a lot of like drop-off D&D groups on the coast. And I think that's really cool because we need places for our teenagers to go that there's a theme, there's something to keep them, or there's something to allow them to be good at, or there's something that allows them to have a common interest in. Because teenagers, it's just such an awkward age for them. And I think with homeschooling, it can be really hard to connect with new people. Like, yes, we've got a group of friends, but I want to continue growing that group of friends. And how do you do that as they get older? They get a little awkward, don't they? So I thought D&D would be a really great kind of path to go down, because when you go there, I imagine that you get caught up in the game and then you can make connections with people because you're playing the game with them and you're having fun and you're enjoying it and it's a common interest and friendships can bloom. Hopefully. That's my thought. That's my plan. So we're starting early. My kids are young. My daughter is 8 and my son is 10. So soon to be 11. How scary. But anyway, I think that we're starting slow and steady and we're introducing the concept, and that's going to allow us to, you know, once they get old enough to that stage, they'll be like really great, competent players. And I think that that will allow them to just, you know, because my kids are shy as well. So it will allow them to just be able to focus on the game, and then the friendships can happen later. I don't know if anyone else thinks or worries about those kinds of things when their kids are older, how they're going to, you know, go out into other sorts of communities and play games with different people, or, you know, groups and settings and stuff. But my kids aren't the kind of kids that, well, right now, they're not the kinds of kids that are comfortable with going off on their own. And they're still young. So that's, I mean, it doesn't matter. But I just want to support them, and I want to provide them opportunities to do that if they wish to, if that makes sense. So that's something that I thought would be a great goal for this year to help build on and see where it takes us. So the next goal is kind of just a little mention, because I'm going to be doing a much bigger sort of video on this topic, because it's huge. And a lot of you really love my minimal homeschool videos. I have been looking through all my videos and seeing all of the thumbs up that I get on the videos, and just like the comments and how they're performing, and just seeing like, what do you guys want from me in terms of the videos that I create, the information that I provide, and all that sort of stuff. And minimalism has been huge. It's been by far one of the biggest standouts to me, and that's great because I am all over it. I love it. It's something that I'm super passionate for, so maybe that's why I'm passionate about it. So, you know, the things that we're passionate about, people tend to gravitate towards. I started my journey to minimalism, or the minimal approach to homeschooling, we're kind of in conjunction with my business idea, which was this freely digital planner, and just my complete overwhelm with paper and all of the things, and just trying to keep track of therapies, being a special needs mom, and, you know, all of this stuff, guys. There's just so many things that we have to keep on top of, or at least try to keep on top of. And I certainly still don't keep on top of it all, but it is definitely made easier by the changes that I've made, and freely that I have now since created. My journey to minimal has been something where it just like started out with just paper clutter and the war on all the mess around homeschooling and organizing that. And then it just kind of evolved into every part of my home. And then it evolved into all the systems that I wanted to put in place to streamline every single thing that I have to do. So laundry has its own system. Meal planning has its own system. Like cleaning has its own system, and it has just simplified so many things. Do I get it all done? Hell no. You do not want to see my house today. But the important stuff does get done every single day. And I can assure you, the important stuff, the stuff that I have decided is our priority, that gets done. Everything else might not get to, but I'm okay with that. Those are things that aren't a priority to me, and that feels great. It feels great to know what is actually important, and it also feels great to know that I have a plan for the things that don't get tended to today. I have a system for that too. So I guess my point is that I would like to share more of that with you guys. I would like to share more of my journey, and rest assured, this is a journey, and I don't think there is there's no finish line here. There's no like, I've got it all. Yeah, the important thing that I want you to know is that it is a journey, and like, if you're feeling like that at the beginning of a year, you can make change, and that's exactly what I did, and I'm continuing that this year. And it's exciting. It's so exciting to even think that I can refine things even more over again. So I'll share that with you as well. If you're interested in it, let me know. Like this video if you want to, if you liked what you've heard and what I might be sharing this year, let me know. And I would love to hear what more you might want from me this year from the videos that I create as well. There you have it. My goals, very, very simple. I have systems, or I'm about to put systems in place. Like I said, some of these plans are still kind of in motion, and some of these goals have just kind of come up over the last couple of weeks, but they are very important to us. We don't tend to make goals that are just kind of picked just for the sake of creating goals. They're usually things that have been that feel like the next move, the next approach that we want to take, or the next process that we want to make. So I've just been very happy to share that with you today. So don't forget to go over to my Instagram account. I share lots of things daily over there with what we're doing with homeschooling. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.